It was a flock of seagulls.
And I ran so far away.
I need a gun!
Closing doors.
Wait, is everyone in?
I hope so.
I don't want to
That was close.
cut off anyone's legs.
Wouldn't the magic of the Tesla prevent personal injury?
I think when it opens, it knows, hey, there's like a tree trunk or another car outside. But the closing, it doesn't care.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen videos where these doors have severed hot dogs. Like people will put a hot dog. They'll put a hot dog there, and then they'll see, like, watch this. And yeah, as you do. That's what you do when you get a Model X.
All right.
And then you just close the door on it.
Well, that's awesome.
And it severs it completely.
Okay.
Happy New Year, folks.
Yeah, it's still New Year, as it was 2 episodes ago. Spencer has a problem with time. But,
Happy New Year,
Happy
folks.
New
See?
Year. Yeah, happy January. Happy Wednesday, because this will go up on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's the only Wednesday this week. You should celebrate. We have a special guest.
We do.
Today.
We do. So I'm Spencer.
I'm Scott, and this...
Bryan.
Bryan. Da-da-da-da-da.
Bryan, why are you so interesting? Why did you make the cut into this car?
It's because I know you.
Yeah.
That's all you need to be in photographers and cars is apparently a face and knowing Spencer.
Yeah, well, okay.
I have no friends.
Yeah, well, so Bryan comes from us. He's Sony Pro Support. He's a genius. He's been a good friend of mine for several years. He's been in the industry for a long time. One of the guys that I know has really made an impact on, like, Sammy's, you know, that
the
store,
camera store.
right?
Yeah.
So Sammy's had he was one of the Sony guys. He's one of the reasons why Sammy sells so many Sonys, or why there's so many. Can
you say that 5 times fast?
That's really hard to
Sammy
say.
sells so many Sonys.
Yeah, by the seashore. Speaking of which, that's where we're literally at right now.
Yeah, so we came out. So I unfortunately had suggested this spot because I wanted to try out an IR converted camera. I was like, okay, well, I know this cool little hut, it's near the ocean. I like the ocean. Coming up over the hill, it was just a wall of fog. I mean, actually, the fog was cool, drifting around over the freeways in between the hills.
Yeah.
Out here, as I'm looking at it right now, it's just, you can barely see that there's a horizon. It's just a mess. We'll get B-roll later. It's okay. I can edit. He's like, I gotta do it now.
I'm new to video. I'm still like understanding that this doesn't have to be real time.
So if you were like a comedian, the jokes would have to be real.
They would.
That would really limit your act.
I wouldn't be practicing. We're totally unscripted here.
Yeah, but so kind of, you know, I think I took 3 photos. Enough to know that I tested out the IR camera to see how it looks and what it's doing and so forth. And that was it.
I took 1 photo, and it was of a dog that was on the roof of a.
Well, what about
SUV.
those seagulls that were swarming that poor lady's chips?
Oh yeah, I did take video of that because that was hilarious. Want to see the video?
Instead of helping her.
That was the weird thing. I mean, Bryan and I were saying this. There were 4 people, and we of course were just as guilty standing there watching.
Yeah.
But there were 4 people filming the seagulls going to town on this people's picnic.
Well,
and nobody went over to shoo the seagulls
It was a bag
away.
of chips. The chips have been breached. Even if it was 1 seagull, and it wasn't, as you'll see in this video. It was a flock of seagulls.
And I ran so far away.
I need a gun. That was organic. That was so organic.
So I think the worst part of that was the really effeminate high fives. So let's work on that part of it. Yeah, maybe next time, like, you know, like a fist bump,
or you can add one of those Batman pows when we did that, and it would remove the weakness of that.
Awesome.
Anyway, the chips bag was breached.
Yeah.
If I ran over there and shushed them away, I wouldn't have suggested eating from that chip bag anyway. You don't know how many worms have been in those.
Fair enough.
Whatever
Fair
else.
enough. No, I wasn't really worried about the chips per se. It was more their other personal belongings.
Oh,
but they came back quickly, and everything was fine, and, you know,
they blamed one guy. I think his name was Tony or something.
I think it was Paul.
Paul. Okay,
I heard Paul. He was on food duty, and Paul. Well, Paul, if you happen to be watching this, I feel for you, man. I've been there.
Yeah.
So
food duty's
so this
bad.
kind of prompted, like, so we were going to talk about, all right, you come out for a thing, and you bring a bunch of stuff with you. And what is a piece of gear? Because I'm in a car with 2 big gear heads, and I'm not. So we're gonna
big boned gear heads.
We're gonna big boned gear heads. So we're gonna try. I'm gonna try to survive this.
Okay.
But what's a piece of gear that you've bought that was like surprisingly useful to you? And then maybe the other half of this will be like, what's something you've got that, man, I wish I never got this thing because I never use it, kind of stuff. So let's start with the first part. And I don't want to scare our guests, so I'm going to have you go second.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah,
you're warmed up.
We'll get the tempo.
But you got something already at the tip of your tongue because you're Mr. Gear.
I am, but so it's a hard drive. And hard drives are things that photographers bring with them all the time. But usually when you have a hard drive, you have to bring an infrastructure with that. You have to bring a computing device.
Yeah.
You have to bring like a laptop or something like that. And then you put the SD card in the laptop or a reader that's connected to, dongle life if you have an Apple device.
Hashtag dongle life.
Yeah,
I'm living it.
I have, for the past few years, I've used this Western Digital, what was it called? The My Passport Wireless? And it's a hard drive. The one I have is a 2 terabyte hard drive with an SD card reader. God, it's slow though. But they have a new version that's supposed to be faster. And it's this hard drive. You put the SD card in, and so when I go on travel and I'm at a hotel, I'll put that card in, and it'll already start archiving for me. And I'll brush my teeth, I'll take a shower, I'll get ready, and then by the time I'm done, it tends to be done with the SD card. I take it out, and then I just keep that hard drive safe in the hotel when I go out.
So you do not have to connect it to a computer or anything else.
Yeah.
It's just, it's again, if it's probably got, it's a computer built into the thing where it
right.
just says, I've noticed there's a new card here. I guess it has a little bit of intelligence, so it knows these are new photos versus stuff you've already dragged off.
No, it doesn't.
Or is it just say, I'm going to take everything and stuff it somewhere?
So it has a few settings. It says like, hey, I can either copy the contents of this thing and then you can eject it, or I can copy the contents, erase what's on here, and then you take it out. So what that means is I choose the don't erase it. I'll eject it, and then that means on day 2, 3, and 4, it's just going to be recopying.
It takes a little bit longer.
Yeah, but what I do is I just go to my camera, and if I'm safe with it, I'll just delete all the images of that day. There's a quick thing on the Sony cameras.
So when you get back to the studio, do you still go to the SD cards, and that is purely your backup, or do you connect the hard drive and slip everything off?
I go. Depends. If I deleted the pictures of the day, I have to go to the hard drive.
I was kind of discounting that use case.
Yeah. Okay. I remember shooting 3.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah. I don't know. Of the 4 days, I only have 1 day. Anyway. No, then I tend to go off of the hard drive because it's USB 3. As soon as I get back, it charges over USB 3 too. So or USB 2, the little micro USB. So it's really cool. What that means is I travel with less stuff. I don't have to worry about this laptop, a dongle, and stuff like that.
So you don't do any type of editing on the road, or you do anything with your phone? Right?
Oh, I do. I do it all with my phone. And actually, I've done images on the phone, and I've edited them in such a way that they're Sorry about that sound. My window's open.
Hey, we need to keep the window open. It's gonna get too hot in here otherwise.
Yeah, it's humid.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's because all this crap in the sky.
Yeah.
But continue.
So it's I've done stuff off of my phone that I've been ready to deliver to clients, and it's never touched an Adobe software. It's just been all like whatever apps I have on my phone.
Oh, okay.
So it's pretty nice that way, and it's helped me slim down my bags. So that means I can fit more gear in there, other than laptops, because that's just how I do.
Laptops are oh so thick.
Yeah, that's true.
Man, all right, well, cool. All right, so travel hard drive.
So a travel hard drive there's a few things that I bring, but the travel hard drive is probably one that's affected my workflow in such a convenient way, and every time I use it, I'm like, this is really cool.
Man.
And sunblock. Sunblock is something that
especially on a day like today. Yeah. Thankfully, nature provided sunblock in the form of clouds. One big gray cloud. This is the look of someone who's ready to start talking about why an overcast day actually is worse for you. Because what happens is ultraviolet rays go back, and they bounce back and forth. So it's actually amplified. But ultraviolet rays need to somehow find a hole in this. Pasty white guy.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Take a look.
Science.
Yeah. So what about you, Brian? You had a piece of gear that like surprisingly changed your life. Well, maybe that's a little bit too much. Something you like.
You know, it was actually a Spencer recommendation. He it was an 8-stop. I believe it's an 8-stop or a 9-stop 82 millimeter ND filter that I never ever thought I would use, and he posted it one day on a Facebook group that we're on.
Yeah.
And I purchased it, and I use it. I would say I probably use it 3, 4, 5 times a week.
Oh, wow.
Wow,
I
man.
love shooting wide open. You know, I love shooting wide open.
Wow.
I figure
Okay.
if lenses were made to be 1.4, then I'm gonna shoot them that way. So
Well, that's interesting. Shooting wide open and then using, a big thick piece of, ND glass to slow everything down. Because,
Yeah.
my world is more landscape stuff, and so I'm already at f11,
Right.
f16, and I'm just slowing it down because I need water to slow down or something like that.
That makes a lot
That's
of
an
sense.
interesting idea, yeah.
yeah,
Man,
Because
that's
then you get that
Spencer guy.
really, yeah, I don't know about him. That's pretty cool. So did you
that's
get,
cool.
yeah, so you mentioned 82 millimeters, so I guess you got like a screw-in?
yeah.
type
So I
one?
got
Okay.
and I also got, based on his recommendation too, I got a set of step down rings. So
Yes.
I got like
Yeah.
a 82 all the way down to like I think
Yeah.
49 millimeter,
Get-
because Sony makes a lens that's 49 millimeter.
Yeah, get your biggest, what do you call it, lens diameter, and then use the rings to stop down.
Dude, step rings are amazing. Thanks for whoever invented step rings.
I don't know.
Thank you.
Steppenwolf?
Steppen
Ring.
Steppen ring.
Steppenring was Steppenwolf's sad cousin.
Yeah.
Who really went unsung until the photographic industry took on his invention.
This is the first time in
It's
today that I'm hearing this, actually. It's been a while since I've heard
done
this.
my faux Euro-German.
Yeah.
I don't even know where this guy's from.
It's like if your accent was associated with an actual guy,
Yes.
his name would be
Einslos?
yeah, I know. He'd be Einslos, and he'd walk around in ski outfits all day in the middle of summer.
Ooh, yeah. Now, would it be like that cool, like,
It
vest
sounds
without
like
the
that.
sleeves?
No, it would be the 1980s fluorescent blue with pink piping.
Pink piping.
That's what was his name, Einslos?
Yeah. That was,
That's
that
what
was off that
Einslos
dam,
would wear.
right?
Yes. Oh, the dam.
The Einslos.
The IKEA dam.
Yeah.
So, well, dude, I'm actually
good one.
flattered.
That's a good one.
I'm super flattered. But yeah, there is something to be said. If you want to shoot wide open, but there's plenty of light, you're gonna need to stop down because you're.
Yeah, it's funny. It's just never occurred to me, given my chosen genre
Yeah,
of photography.
yeah.
But I can see that. Oh wow, yeah. I want to be wide open because I want a certain depth of field, but
Yeah.
I don't want to freeze it at a 1/1000th of a second,
Right.
or whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And my cameras don't go down to ISO 1.
I know. Yeah, that's
So-
it's kind of a problem.
Yeah. So where would you use that? I remember actually using that thing for doing macros in the middle of the day, and I want that very tight depth of field. So I had a 2.8. So I had 92.8, and I was like, wow, everything is just washed out. Aha! ND filter.
Sounds like an evil genius. Good.
Wow. Yeah.
Good.
Thanks, Brian, dude. Thanks, man.
All right. Cool.
You do know what you're talking about.
I do know what I'm talking about.
Let's not get
Drinks
crazy.
are on me.
Water
I'm
for
gonna hold you
everyone.
to that.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
man.
how about you, dude?
So for me, so it's kind of tough because when I buy gear, there's always a reason behind it. So I'm more I'm not inclined to, let me get this thing because then maybe it'll be fun. I have more things that's like, I probably didn't really need to buy this.
Yeah.
But probably something that I use all the time when I'm going out. It's not really so much for photography, but it's for all the behind the scenes stuff. Is this little lav mic that
You do
really
use that a lot.
makes a difference for the in the field audio, especially shooting at the ocean. It's just bloody
Oh, yeah.
noisy with all the background stuff. So just that little clip-on mic, getting it really close.
Where
to
does
your
it connect
voice
to
box.
on the other end?
So it depends. It can connect into a phone, and if you wanted to use something that only has 2 channels, as I found out with like these little RX Zeros, I have to get this little adapter which changes it from like I don't know all the details of tech stuff,
Yeah.
but there's like 3 channels versus 2, and then it works like a champ. But that really made a big difference in the quality of of capturing audio out
Sure.
in the field. So I know it's not strictly for taking a photograph or managing it, but that's something that I kind of got it on a, not on a whim. I was using the microphone that's built into the Apple like headphones, the things. It was doing all right. It was okay, but it didn't have it
didn't pick you up as well, right?
Yeah, it was all right, but it didn't have some of the the windshield protection. It's,
Sure.
this little guy's got a tiny little. It's not like a full dead cat on it,
Yeah.
but it's something a little bit foam. And it's nice, you can tuck it underneath, clothing or things like that. It doesn't brush around so much.
Sure.
So that's really kind of the thing that I was surprised for how often I use it and how invaluable it's become to some of the stuff that I do with behind the camera.
I've watched your videos, and the audio quality is actually really good. Now I know why.
I'm surprised. It's like, my God, I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Dude, he's by the ocean. Yeah. How on earth is he doing this?
If only we could solve this problem with your nasally drone.
Oh, so annoying. Seriously.
Yeah, exactly. If only you would speak like Einslos through the entire thing. It'd be so much more engaging.
So it's funny that you bring that up because I've seen you use it so many times. So when we set up for this...
Einslos?
No, not...
the
lav mic. I feel bad because you use Einslow so much, and I feel bad
He
for
didn't
the
even
guy.
have a name until this episode. It was
no.
just this random dude. But anyway, so yeah.
No, so I've seen you use this lav mic so much.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a really good idea. And maybe if I start vlogging, maybe if it's something that I end up doing, I will do that. So I went and I bought it. And so when we set up for these photographers in cars, I have this little crate full of RX0 cameras and mics and all that stuff. But in there now is a lav mic that I bought over Black Friday because I've seen you do it. And I was like, wow, and I played around with it. I didn't record anything.
It's one of those, you get into the habit of using it,
Yeah.
and then, it becomes second nature. I was actually ticked off. I lost my little adapter from like the 3-to-2 converter thing. Didn't even think of it. And I have so much footage off of one of these RX-0s with no audio because, it plugs in just great, but it doesn't capture anything if you're not using a 2-channel input. And I was like, well, I'll throw that away, because it wasn't, I can't use B-roll of me like this.
Well, you could, and I probably would find it hilarious.
Voiceover.
Yeah, I'll have to like dub it with
Einslos. Yeah. This is me at the coast. Yeah.
Whoa.
I don't know what that was.
I gotta figure out where that came from. That was like
it's
half
a
Canadian.
Southern Norwegian meets kind of a Michigan.
I like how you've classified it as Southern Norwegian.
Yeah, Southern
I
Norwegian.
think just
It's
because
definitely not North.
more people live in the south of Norway than the north of Norway. Whoa. A lot of vehicles going by. All right,
Yeah.
so let's flip this around to the opposite end of this. So the thing that you have bought that either, let's say it either didn't live up to your expectations or it was a complete I just never used this thing.
Sure.
Yeah. So you got one that you're like,
I do. It's frustrating, but I'm gonna start with, and to be honest, like I buy from like Amazon, B&H, Adorama, back when Sony stores were a thing. I bought from them, Best Buys, and then eBay. I will tell you right now, my eBay success rate has been maybe about 10%. Stuff I buy on eBay, for some reason, but I don't buy like local stuff. I'm like, I look at something represented by a company in China, and I was like, that would be kind of cool. Case in point, there's this like circular pop-up reflection or reflector light. So I put my strobe in there. I can put my strobe in there. So here's a camera. I'm gonna hold the camera, and my little flash goes up here, and then this reflector circle goes around it. So I'm walking around with a halo around my lens, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna shoot like that. It's cool because it puts ring lights in everybody's eyes. I've used it one time because someone took a picture of me taking a picture of something else with it, and I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna go out in public with that thing."
You look like the dog with the cone on its head.
Yeah, it was bad, and I was just like, "Please delete that image of me." So I'm sure I don't remember.
So it worked.
I think so.
It's just that it was too goofy for you to continue using.
It was. They're like, and there
as
weren't
much of a fashion plate as you are. Hi, hungry, I'm dead.
Oh right, hey Sharky James, I'm getting this to try to get better at my dad jokes.
It's just it just.
Also, I wear Crocs, so. Yeah, so no, I'm definitely not a fashion guy, but Crocs are at least comfortable. This thing wasn't comfortable.
Okay.
If it was comfortable, I would do it.
Yeah.
But that was my fault. I bought this thing without really using it. It didn't promise anything. It may have delivered, but I just never took it there. One thing that promised a lot and under-delivered, and even to get to that point, was extremely frustrating. And I happen
Exhibit A.
to have it here is this thing.
I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille. Show it to the camera.
By Alpine Labs, this company. So I buy a lot of things from Kickstarter. I have a pretty decent hit rate with Kickstarter. Like that's how I found out like the peak design stuff that I shoot with those capture clips. It's actually a very important part of how I carry stuff. There was a Mindshift bag back in the day that actually ultimately evolved into what you use.
Oh, the rotation.
Yeah, that rotation one, right? So there's a lot of cool stuff that comes out of Kickstarter. This one here is one such device that sucks.
It's not
that
good.
That sucks.
Okay.
So
trying to keep that clean rating.
Yeah, let me tell you what it promised. Let me tell you what it promised.
So what is this supposed to do?
So it's supposed to sit on the hot shoe part of my device, of my camera, and then it has a smartphone connection, and on the smartphone you're like, okay, start doing intervalometer stuff. Do simple stuff. Take a shot every 10 seconds at 1/800th of a second, right? Do that for me.
Okay.
Cool. It doesn't do that. But I can push a button on my phone to remotely take a picture using this thing. But my camera does that already.
You already have a remote, at least with the Sony cameras, you already have that.
But
or, they make these $5 infrared remote switch.
Exactly.
I have one.
Exactly.
It works like a champ.
What sucks about it is to even get that simple capability of that, like I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to take one picture. The Bluetooth connectivity to this thing is so poorly implemented.
How poor is it?
It's so bad. It's horrible. And if you read the Kickstarter page, there's like countless people who talk about how bad it is. And when this was delivered to me, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago, there was the Android app for this thing was like a 0.9 release, I think. They haven't come out with a new one in the past. With all the complaints, they haven't put out any updates for this thing. And with all that, there's still another big thing that I'm extremely upset about on this thing here. So when they marketed it, they said that it was going to be rechargeable. That hey, you can pop it out, and which is cool because there's been a lot of times where I'm shooting and it's cold. There's snow around. I've been, in the subarctic circle, and I'll photograph aurora borealis and all that stuff. This thing here is going to need a couple battery changes that day.
So what kind of battery does it take?
I don't know because I can't open it.
You can't open it at all?
I cannot open this thing. And what was their explanation? We forgot. They literally said we forgot to... I'll have to read up, but essentially we forgot to see about removing the battery, and it's only going to affect less than 5% of our users. How do they even get that metric?
So you can't recharge it. And you can't replace the battery. And so it's basically a finite device that eventually you have to throw it away.
It is
How
disposable.
much does it cost?
The Kickstarter price was $50, I believe. $50. Well, which isn't bad. I mean,
it's not breaking the bank, but if it's for something that, if I'm going to go buy an intervalometer, I'm going to want to use it.
Yeah, but this is literally useless to me. Like there's so many better things you can put $50 or like we could all be eating right now. For $50,
you can eat that
nicely, right? This here I can't even eat.
But maybe the cord could be used for floss if you have really big spaces. Like Elton John could use that to floss out those front teeth.
Yeah, this is such an infuriating piece of photo equipment that I happen to have it because I left it in the car. I was so pissed, and I was going in the back, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this thing was in my trunk."
All right, so if anyone was thinking about getting that, not advised.
And there is a video floating around the internet where it's reviewed positively, and that video actually incorrectly has tidbits in it that's super incorrect. Like like the fact that this is recharged. They said, oh yeah, this part here is how you recharge it. That's totally false. This is how you connect it to your camera. That's not a recharge point. So yeah, you just look out, make sure, there's some fake news videos out there.
Fake news.
Yeah. That's mine. Sorry, I got pissed.
You're like
I got so pissed.
You're like red. No, you're not.
Yeah.
You're good.
Sorry guys.
That's all right.
Hey Brian, your turn.
All right, Brian. what I don't know if you can top the fever and fury.
At least Spencer's is $50. Mine's like $1,800.
What?
Oh
Yeah,
no.
so
That sounds like a lens or a camera.
It's probably going on eBay pretty soon.
Oh no.
So 85 G Master 1.4.
Really?
What?
Now, is it because... all right, let me just expand on that. Unpack that for me.
The 90 macro is just so much nicer for me. Yeah.
The 90 macro is really good.
And it's so much more versatile. Allows me to get closer. It still has really nice fall off. Tack sharp.
So is the 85... It's not... Is it because it's a bad lens, or it's just
no.
the two... You don't need two things.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. I
So
think
it's one
it
of
was
those
more impulse than anything.
That's some impulse.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So you're not the first person I know who said it. Like there's another YouTuber and influencer named Jason Vong.
Oh.
What's up, Jason?
You just
actually
winked at your elbow.
I did. this part of my elbow.
Yeah, I can't cut to that.
Gosh, man. So Jason, I believe he sold his 85mm 1.4, and what he did was he replaced it with the 85 1.8. And the 85 1.8 is a $600 lens.
Best bang for your buck.
It is such a great lens. And so you have 1.8 85 at 600, and then you have 85 1.4 at $1,800. I could see why. It's also heavy, but the bokeh on that is really nice.
It is really nice.
It is really nice.
It's definitely really nice. I don't see myself ever taking that out of my camera bag. Every time I go in there for that range, I go straight to my 90 macro, and I love the images. I love the color.
Yeah.
Sharpness is amazing. The fall off is nice.
There's video out there of me actually kissing this 90 macro or hugging it. Do you know what I'm talking about, right?
There's a lot of video of you hugging electronic devices.
Oh, when I opened up my A7R3, I sniffed it.
As you do.
I sniffed it.
Doesn't Fro do that? Doesn't he do a sniff test?
Does he?
I thought he did.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of years since I've watched his stuff, but I remember him doing something like that.
I've always
So is it like
the
the new car smell kind of
It
thing?
is. It is, and it started. I remember I bought a router back in the day. Like I was in college, and I bought a router, and I was like, it has a unique smell. And I just brought it up, like right out of Best Buy. I was like, I smelled
Smells
it.
like router, just like Mom used to make.
Smell. Oh yeah. Oh, it reminds me of my childhood.
Yes, back in the days when I was moving packets on my own.
Who does that now?
Yeah, nobody does that now.
Yeah.
Sneakerheads. It's like the sneakerheads lick the bottom of the shoe when
What?
they unbox a new pair of shoes.
That's
They
like more
lick
like
it?
marking territory.
Yeah, they lick the bottom of the shoes. A lot of sneakerheads
What
do
happens
that.
if you try it on and then you walk around the shoe store for a little bit?
You don't lick it after that.
Yeah.
But how do you know that as a new sneaker purchaser?
Well, I guess it's the bottom of the shoe, so
But
I don't
You're
know.
like licking the floor of the. Wow, you're a
This is
sneakerhead.
a new shoe. A new shoe. FedEx drops it off.
Oh,
unbox
okay.
You lick the bottom of the
see.
shoe.
it's for good
I'm
luck.
learning so
You know, a
much
lot of
about
people
you,
don't
Brian.
buy stuff online, right?
Yeah.
So
So I've heard.
I don't know what to say to that.
So I've heard.
I'm just speechless.
Our affiliate links are available in the description below.
Exactly. Please visit lickyourshoe.com.
That went
man.
completely the opposite direction.
Well, yeah, that happens. That's the unscripted part of this. You
Yeah.
know, it's somewhat stream of consciousness.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
What you see is definitly what you hear is what you get.
it is it. Yeah. And I don't have enough time to cut this crap out. So for me, it's nearly twice mistake, and it's a Wacom tablet.
Oh.
So about a year ago, I bought a Wacom tablet.
Okay.
Because for like dodging and burning and like really fine-tuned stuff, it's more natural to use it like use a pen.
Yeah.
And I really gave the thing like the full-on college try. put the trackpad in a different room, use the tablet for 2 to 3 weeks, and everything was slower because I just wasn't used to the motion and everything. Finally said, this just isn't for me. Got rid of it, sold it. And then I had somebody on a workshop that brought one and only used it when they needed to dodge and burn. And this was like mind-blowing to me. It's like, why didn't I realize this? I don't have to use it all the time.
Right.
So I got another one. And I maybe use it once a month, maybe.
Okay.
It's useful, but it's so niche at this point where I probably could have just said, that was probably $300 I didn't need to spend.
Yeah.
And that's, equating for, all right, I made some money back on the one I got rid of. So it wasn't a complete and total loss. But yeah, that's probably the one piece of thing I bought that I do not get my money's out of.
Okay.
No way. Yeah. No way at all.
So I think it's, for me, I have one, but it's a digitizer that's on top of a screen. So there wasn't really, the learning curve wasn't there because I have a pen and I can go directly on what I'm seeing. Because I've tried the Wacom tablets that are, you're looking at your screen, but your hand is here. And I'm not used to like writing and not looking. I had a hard time with that.
That didn't bother me. It was the, I'm not touching the screen. I'm kind of moving around to move a cursor. And then I put it down. Oh. That was the part that I had more difficulty with. And then that
is weird.
I do a fair amount of typing.
Yeah.
And I got really used to not having anything in my hand. I really got used to using a trackpad. I don't pick up and put down the mouse. I'm typing, hand goes over, I swipe back, all the gestures and all that kind of stuff with Apple devices. I use the crap out of gestures.
Yeah.
It really slowed me down, and the return on what I was getting with at least the initial round of saying, all right, well, I'm using a tablet and I can do all this, fine-tuned work. I only need to do fine-tuned work on maybe, 5% of my photos, the ones that really matter for it. And then, so I have to dust it each month because it is, to the point where, if I had something else on it, you take it away, you get like the mark of whatever was sitting on top of it. So, I'll keep it at this point because I'm not going to just get rid of it and then, a year from now go, maybe I should try that tablet again. But that's the one for me that just did not pan out as I thought it would.
Fooled you twice.
Almost.
Okay.
I still will use it and it has its place, but it's really it's a niche tool at this point.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Wow. Brian, you're such a pleasure to have on this show, man.
Really?
Thank
you.
You
project well. We should have you on another episode.
Maybe one that might get filmed right after this one.
I'm thirsty, by the way. I didn't bring a drink.
Yeah, me too. It's been talking for however long. Your mouth starts to get a little cottony.
Yeah, this is the first episode where I'm not drinking anything.
That sounds really good.
Okay. I don't have to pee.
So usually I have to tap a keg at this point in the show because I just can't stand it anymore.
So you know what though?
Yeah.
I'm so glad you brought up step-up rings. Step-up rings are such a critical part of stuff because of the fact that we have all of these different...
I thought you stepped down.
You're right.
Is there step down?
Step up.
It depends on your perspective.
Is aerobic exercise.
It depends on your perspective. Hi, I'm a lens. I'm a 49mm lens. I need to be using a 77mm filter. I need to step up to it.
Einstein's theory of relativity as it applies to lens diameters. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. That's nice. That's Einstein.
We should go now.
Yes, we
must
should.
leave.
Let's go find a drink.
All right, let's go. See you guys.
Okay.